So welcome. How many people here are new? I recognize some new faces. Actually, I recognize some faces that are new, even though I've met some of you before. So awesome. And I've got a chance to meet Deborah here that will be visiting with you guys this afternoon that I've known for a couple of years, but actually never met her. So awesome. Obviously, this is going to be fairly informal. What we're going to talk about today is what we do in the program and some things, and hopefully it's going to add a lot of value to you in terms of helping you in your career. So let me just ask, I guess everybody's working for corporations. Where are we at in terms of work experience, especially some of you that are new here? Go ahead, don't be shy. Yeah, what companies? What do you do? Huh? Okay. Data, IT types. Okay. Anybody else?
Telecom, Samsung Electronics America.
Telecom. Okay. I used to know something about telecom. How about yourself?
I'm actually a UAB undergraduate.
Okay. Awesome. In
Education.
In education. Awesome. Anybody else?
Clinical engineering with Renewable Solutions.
Clinical engineering. What is that? Is that biomed type stuff?
Yes, get the most bang for your buck out of the medical devices that you have.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And obviously y'all are going to meet some more people because this is Saturday and it's morning and it's 9 o'clock and sometimes some people are just not here yet. So we understand that. So feel free to ask me questions. I won't speak for everybody else, but let me tell you a little bit about what we do in IAM. This program is geared toward you. It has nothing to do with anything else but you. I mean, I tell people all the time, we have nothing to sell but the alumni that you see around you and the people that are in the program that we call clients. So here's what it is in a nutshell. This is a graduate engineering education. So what you end up with is a master's in engineering, and that's as far as we're going to go with the formalities. What we are is we're a leadership program. When back in 2000, our former dean, who was a venture capitalist, was approached by friends of his that were officers of companies. So these companies were like the officers of General Electric, some Bell Atlantic at the time, formerly known as Bell Atlantic, now AT&T. So the chief technology officers and chief information officers of some of these companies were telling him, nobody's preparing the future leaders. You have the MBA programs of the world that are preparing, for the most part, MBAs. Anybody here have an MBA? Okay, I do. There's two of us at least. So for the most part, the MBAs are people that are right out of school. They go right into an MBA program. They're a fairly young group of people, and that's what I did when I went and got an MBA straight out of school, straight out of engineering school. Had a job, went at nighttime, got an MBA. That's kind of the traditional route. So the average age of an MBA graduate is probably 26. That's nationwide. That's Harvard graduates, the same thing. The average starting salary of an MBA is about $80,000. That's nationwide. Have to balance it around. But the problem was that these officers were saying the MBAs and those guys aren't really prepared to lead, because what they teach you in the MBA is a lot of middle management type of stuff, which is probably appropriate because that's where those people are going to end up, is middle management. But if you take the technical degrees like a master's in engineering or some of the masters in biomeds or masters in electrical or masters in computer science, they get so deep technically that those people are useless outside the laboratory, outside the systems, outside the things. And what happens when you moved up, and these were the words I remember them so clearly saying, is when you move people up into leadership positions from those two things, the people who have the business background only or the MBAs only, they know a lot of lingo, but they don't understand a lot of depth. It's dangerous. The people who have the technical expertise are so married to their expertise, their egos get in the way. And one of the things that we saw at the time, is It becomes either everything is a Linux problem or a Unix problem or a Microsoft problem. If you're an expert in Unix, you will never touch Microsoft. And even if it makes a good business decision, and there's a friend of ours in town, that's a guy's actually on the board that started a couple of companies, 12 now, I think. He's an expert in Java. He was really one of the nation's leading experts in Java. And when he moved to a leadership position in his own company that he started, being such an expert in Java, his ego got in the way. He will tell you that. It was he said, one of the hardest things for me to do was to hire a Java guy better than me. You know, and you get that when you get so married to technology. So what these people were saying is, it doesn't matter where you come from, nobody's preparing the future leaders. So what our dean did was something fairly smart. He's a smart enough guy to know what he knows and know what he doesn't know. He said, well, tell us what you want these people to know. And they did. They emailed us, and it was nothing but a bunch of bullet points. That's where IEM came from. It was exactly what the officers of about 20 different companies wanted their leadership to know. So some interesting things came out of there. There wasn't a lot of human resource management type of junk, because these are officers. People do that for them. There wasn't any programming skills, because these are officers that people do that for them. There wasn't even a lot of stuff about project management and some of the skill sets we see going on, because these are officers. It was a knowledge of the stuff, but it was more about leadership. Entrepreneurial thinking was one of the really top things, which is a little shocking because these are large companies, but they want people to lead and to think and to use their brain. That's where we came from. Since then, that's what we've been trying to do, constantly adjusting with our board members. So does that make sense? So far, okay, good. So I can only promise to give you a few things of sense, and then the rest of it will be nonsensical. So here's what we do. When we started teaching entrepreneurship, yes, ma'am. Okay. When we started teaching entrepreneurship and leadership and things like that, we were trying to figure out what the right way to communicate with people who are experts in large companies. By definition, we were looking for people who had experience, and that was one of the other things is we need to teach people who already know how companies work. There's something weird. Have any of you ever hired somebody straight out of college to work for you? Anybody had that experience? Okay, some of you. How was that?
It's a lot different than it was 10 years ago.
Okay. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons for the pain, but you don't know when you grow up and you go to high school and you go to college, and usually that's the route most people take, and these days people have very, very little work experience because high schoolers these days don't want to work. More and more so. So you are if you're their first boss, you're their first work experience. And there's something you cannot teach about how the real world works. I don't care how you try to do it in a classroom, you cannot teach that. So one of the things that you guys bring to the table is you all have different experiences. You have different knowledge base. If I'm teaching on a subject, guaranteed there's somebody in the classroom right now that's a bigger expert on the subject than I am. Just the nature of what it is. If like we were doing a security class not too long ago, there was 3 guys in the classroom that were chief security officers for their companies. So nobody standing up here was going to be the expert because these guys had their own expertise. So one of the things that we've seen is we learn from each other, just like the real world. But one of the things that we've also noticed, well, let me kind of give you the framework. We're going to look at courses, and you guys can correct me because I'll probably say them wrong. Maria especially is going to say you said that wrong. We're going to look at courses in project management. We're not going to be teaching project management. Are you guys doing that this summer? Next fall. Okay. Thank you. See, I'm already wrong. You'll be looking at project management. We're not teaching. How many of you are know about project management? Anybody certified project management? Okay. I didn't say are you certifiable. Certify. We're not going to be trying to get people certified in project management. What we want is you to understand the methodologies and what's going on and some of the concepts. Some people do take our courses and go get certified just because it's the nature of the jobs. We're going to be looking at financial. Y'all are looking at the financial course right now. And the title of the course is, do y'all have Financial Concepts for Entrepreneurs? It's really just financial concepts, because a lot of us have technical expertise, really don't have a lot of somebody throws the budget or a pro forma in front of us, and we're like, I don't know what that means. That's a bunch of numbers. So we'll be looking at, again, not trying to make people financial experts or accountants, but trying to get you to understand how do you look at stuff and what matters. Because at the end of the month, the end of the year, that's what matters to your company. Whether you have a job or not depends on your pro formas of your company. So little simple things like that. But one of the things that we spend a lot of time on is you as an individual. How do you manage the company of you? Because when it comes right down to it, I think you guys are talking about that a lot today, right? In the breakout sessions. So that's some of the stuff that really was a wake-up call for me when I was in corporate America, sitting there, and I realized I was responsible for me. I was responsible for my company. And I hated, I'll just tell you, when my first job in corporate America, I despised it. Every day was a Prozac moment. I mean, it was, I literally remember driving to work on Monday morning hating it. And it was, so some of you may be there now. Statistically speaking, this half of the room is there. So, because that's just what statistics say about what's going on in the United States. A lot of what I realized, though, it wasn't so much the company, it wasn't the people I worked for, it was me. I wasn't taking responsibility. And I remember when somebody tried to explain that to me and said, Dale, you are the company. Forget Bell South, who I worked for. Forget Bell South. You're the company. You're in charge of you. It made a dramatic difference on how I saw my work. It also made a dramatic difference on how other people saw me. I took charge of me. It made a dramatic impact on my income. It also made a dramatic impact on me getting out of there. Because I realized one of the things that happens is I realized I have to control my own income. Now, anybody care about your income? Am I getting to a sore spot yet? Okay, good. I mean, that's why we go to work, right? That's why we go to school. And everybody that shows up in IEM here, I have yet to find the person that shows up in IEM that says, you know what, I just got too much time in my hands, or too much money in my pocket, I'm gonna come and give it to you guys. I haven't found that yet. I figure there is gonna be one of those people out there. But everybody shows up and what you're looking for is the bottom line. And the bottom line for most is financial impact. There's a few exceptions that have had another bottom line, but but here's the big thing about financial impact. Anybody here interested in growing your salary? Okay, there's a simple way to grow your salary. Increase your service. Increase the way and the amount of people you serve. It's really, instead of being all about me, it's all about serving other people and communicating how you can serve them. You increase your service. You can do this inside of regions. You can do this inside of UAB. You can do this inside of little small companies. We have seen one of the things in IM, we've seen people get dramatic pay raises, but because they increase their service. That's what we're here for. Look, the program is about, okay, Maria, financially, 27,000, 27.5, round off for two. Okay, today, I understand. Yes, we don't control UAB's tuition, except I can tell you UAB's tuition will never go down. I guess I can't promise that, but I'm pretty sure that's a given. But tuition, but it's about $27,000 program, which is very good price compared to sister programs of ours that are at least twice that. But the game is this: if you're not increasing your salary by $27,000, by the end of it, you haven't got the return of investment that you should get. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying it's very doable. Some people decide that's not what their thing is. Their thing is, I want to have a different job, I want to be happier, I want to live in a different location, all kinds of things. But that's the end of the game. That's what we're after, is to help you meet your goal. But if you come to us and say, you know, Dale, we don't care about changing my salary, I want to change another job, that's cool. We've had one guy that decided to go into the mission field. His salary went down. But that's part of the key, is you guys have to make your decision about what you want. You have to make the decision about what your goal is. And then we can help you get there. I have found in this free nation of ours, where we can do anything we want to do, as Dave Ramsey likes to say, well, you can look up and wake up and look in the mirror and decide who you want to be today in America, which is a pretty true statement. Most people have never made that decision. Most of us did like I did. I got a degree. I walked out the door, got my little diploma in my hand that said I was an electrical engineer, looked around, and there was like 800 others that looked just like me, you know, in terms of having a degree in electrical engineer. I went to work. Here's how I went to work. I was checking the mail. This guy who lived across the street from my parents, I was at their house. I was in shorts, probably barefoot, and a t-shirt, checking their mail, and the guy comes up to me and, hey, Dale, I understand you just graduated. Yes. We're looking for some new blood over the company. Why don't you come over and come to work for us? Okay. That was my job interview. So anybody else wore shorts and flip-flops or anything to your jobs interview? But I did it without thinking, right? You got job, paid me great money, cool. And it was about 5 or 6 years later that I'm looking in the mirror, literally thinking, how did I get here? I graduated as an electrical engineer from one of the top engineering schools in the country. And a couple of years later, I find myself wondering, how did I become an telecommunications engineer specializing in SS7 networks? Does anybody know what that is? Okay, at least one of us. Which is true in any group I speak to, because it's like your expertise. It's like that. It's very, very narrow. Your expertise is very narrow. And you find yourself in that little narrow hole one day wondering, how did I get it? And I remember literally looking in the mirror and thinking, I hate telecom. How did I get here? And I felt like I couldn't get out, because you feel trapped. Because you feel anywhere else you go, what's going to happen to your salary? It goes down. So I felt trapped. So I no longer do telecom. I can spell telecom still. I still can spell SS7, but I'm not sure I'm more used to that than that, because you can redefine what you do. I make a lot more money now than I did then. Matter of fact, when I left the company, all those people that were there when I left in 1995 are still there. And most of them didn't like their job. So part of what we want to do here is challenge you. And I think part of what we're going to do today, a lot of what we're going to do today, is talk through some of this stuff and challenge you just to think. So just spend time here today and just think about, what is it you want? How can this help you get that? You know, what are you learning here? You should have a lot of great takeaways today to do this.